Up, everybody? Just waiting for the. Okay, here we are. We're now live on all platforms. Got my phone set up for Instagram. I got sick of doing a separate message on Instagram and then to the rest of my platforms. I just wish Instagram would play nicely with StreamYard, which is what I use. But if somebody knows a different software tool that will enable me to stream to both Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and uh, I'd love to do it on TikTok and on Instagram. Let me know. I would love to talk about that. If you're watching on Instagram and you want a better view, come over to one of the other platforms. You can see me because I'm going to focus straight ahead. I don't want to be looking here, even though this looks a little crispier from an imaging standpoint. Got to work on that Logitech. Wanted to come over on here and ask you, what do you have to say? Okay, and I think I might have worded it like, do you have something to say? And the reason why is because I want to tell you this story about a powerful lesson that I learned from Bishop Jakes, and really helped me to bypass or overcome the insecurity of sharing my message, of speaking in front of audiences, of standing in what I felt were my authentic truth and my strong beliefs. So if you have a message to share, type me in the comments and let us know what that message is. Okay. So here's the story. And again, it's Bishop Jake's story, so it's always better when he tells it. But and this is just how I interpreted it. So he might have actually told it a little bit differently, but it went something like this: that his ministry was picking up. He's starting to get all of this visibility. He was doing television shows. He was speaking at churches and in leadership environments. And he started to just gain this audience, gain this audience, gain this audience. And he was packing out stadiums. And I think it was maybe when he was hosting perhaps his own first event, and it was sold out. It was in this big coliseum in this big place. And he was up worrying late at night about what it is he was going to say, because he knew there was going to be all these media people there, and they were already comparing him to Billy Graham and like critiquing his every move. And like, when you have that level of influence and that level of impact and that amount of influence, and there's another word I'm looking for, but audience, when you have that large of an audience, people seek to point out your flaws and all these things. And so he was worried that all the media that was going to be there was going to just eat him alive and catch something that he said and like twist it and like do all this stuff. And so he said he was worried. He was worried. He was worried. He was worried about what he was going to say. And then he calls his PR or his publicist, which one. And I remember him saying, when I'm up late and I'm worrying, everybody's up late and they're worrying. And I'm like, man, I'll be feeling the same way. Like, my staff got to be up if I'm up, okay? They got to be working if I'm working. And so he said he calls her, and he's talking on the phone, and he's just going, well, I don't know. The media's going to say this and da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. He's just going. And she interrupted him and said, Bishop Jakes. And he said, what? She says, the whole world is coming to see you tomorrow. Do you have something to say or not? And when he said that, oh, it shook me to my core, because I too wrestled with all this insecurity, all this psychology around, oh, I can't, I'm not enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not refined enough, I'm not influential enough, I'm not wealthy enough. Like, when I get more wealthy, when I feel more confident, when I become more influential, then I'll share my story. Once I write my book, once I have this amount of following, once I have this amount of status and esteem, once my organization grows to affect this amount of people, then I feel all right with putting my story out there. Then I'll feel like I actually have something to say. And it challenged me, because it's not all of these things that determine what we have to say. It's what we believe, what we truly believe. It got to the core of, hey, you've got the whole world coming to see you. Do you have something to say or not? And, Bishop Jakes just went off on it. And so I posed that question to you because it's one that has always stuck with me, and that I've continually come back to and ask myself when I'm feeling insecure, when I'm feeling like, oh, maybe I shouldn't share my message, which sometimes those thoughts still come up. I ask myself, man, do you have something to say or not? There's a lot of people in this world who uh, are talking a lot to no one. They have an opinion, but they're not actually sharing that message in front of others. They critique everyone else who's actually using their platform to affect change, and they critique their motives, and they critique their wealth, and they critique their decisions, and they critique their psychology. But yet they're the same people that are critiquing are the same people that are remaining silent and not even saying anything. They're just judges and critics. But put a microphone in their face and see what they have to say. And I guarantee you they're going to say something offensive. I guarantee you they're going to say something controversial, because people have all different beliefs. But the point is, will you actually stand in the truth of what you have to say? You got all of these programs, all of these clients, all of this wisdom. We read all of these books, but yet you're not sharing your story. And I saw that within myself. I would see things. I would get frustrated. I would go to events and I would be looking and listening at speakers. And I'm like, well, same on. I heard that. Oh my gosh, they're robotic. Oh my gosh, they're saying the same thing. And then it was like, Darryll, why are you critiquing them when they're up there shooting their gift? They're shooting their shot, shooting their gift, sharing their gift. They're shooting their shot. And I'm sitting in the audience or online critiquing, hating. I was hating. And you know what I decided? No more hating. No more critiquing. No more pushing people to share their story. If they're not ready, I'm happy to support you. If you are, by the way, hit me up. If you have something to say, not something to wear, not something to bash people with, not something to be selfish, not something to puff up your ego or your esteem. But if you have something to actually say, if you've been through something that somebody could benefit from hearing what you've been through, if you know something that someone could benefit from hearing what you know, you have something to say. And if you have something to say, drop it in the chat. What do you have to say? What do you have to say? Not what do you have to critique? What do you have to compare? Not what do you have to wear? Not what do you have to judge? What do you have to say? It's what you have to say that matters. I'd rather be known for what I stand for than what I stand against. I'd rather be known for who I am than to be associated with who I'm not. So before you comment on social media and air your opinion about someone else, why about you share your own opinion on your own platform about yourself? Darryll, why are you talking about this? Darryll, why are you letting it rip like this? Because this is the stuff that I see that is causing people so much mental pressure, so much anxiety, so much perpetual patterns of shame and jealousy and comparison. Because if we stay stuck comparing, if we stay stuck competing, if we stay stuck in victim mentality, instead of sharing our story and standing in our power, we live in a world that's less beautiful. We experience, not living. I believe that the world is full of life and abundance, but the world that we actually experience, we create that collectively. We create that collectively. And what I believe is happening in this time period is that there are leaders who are rising up, sharing their messages. Leaders who have been in the caves, the background, the gym. Oh, yeah. You know the gym? Been in the gym of development, the privacy of preparation, being shaped, being molded. So they can be released and revealed. And this is a time where many people are being released and revealed. Oh, man, if you feel that's for you, type me in the chat. Type me in the chat. Repeat after me. Say, it is my season to be revealed. Oh, not so I can be seen, not so that I can praise. Oh, hold on a second. Let me rephrase that. See, that's what I mean. Why would you not want to be seen? When the scripture says, who sets their light underneath a bushel? Like who hides it? Marianne Williamson, our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate, but that we are powerful beyond measure. Why can't you be seen? What's wrong with being seen? Oh man, I can't believe I had this calling to speak all of my life, but had a problem with being seen, because being seen for me meant being judged. Being seen meant being critiqued, being vulnerable. Because if people see who I really am and they don't like it, what does that say about myself? And so I didn't for so long share. And in some ways, even in the things that I've been doing as a professional speaker, I've been sharing less of what there is for me to share. And I decided to put an end to that because I know that my full truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God, is why I'm here. And it's why I'm doing this live stream. This is like my third live stream in like a day. I am going off. Why? Because I was so backed up. I was so suppressed emotionally, had all these thoughts, had all these opinions, so mad at everybody else, so mad at people's selfishness. And it was my wife. My wife did it for me. She just spoke the truth and love to me. We were talking and she was like, Darryll, like, why are you talking about how other people are leading and what they're saying? Why don't you got your own platform, your own influence? And I was like, word. But I'd rather talk about them. Because it's safer to talk about other people than it is to stand in your actual truth. It's perceived safety, though. Perceived, meaning that, let me tell you a story about perceived safety. So imagine being in a jungle and there's this cage that you could hide in order to protect yourself from the predators. But imagine that cage that you built to protect yourself, one of the lions in the jungle runs up to it and tries to claw at you. And they hit the lock that you put on the cage, or they hit where the hinge is, and they bend it so that you're stuck in that cage. Then the vultures come in and eat you alive. So extreme. But imagine that. The cage that you built to keep yourself safe became the cage that ended up keeping you stuck. There's a lot of people stuck. Built this cage. I'm gonna stay here to protect myself. I'll share some truth, not all truth. I'll share some of my belief, not all my belief. I'll talk to people who think like me, but I won't talk to people who think differently than me. And that makes me feel safe. But it also keeps you stuck and it stifles your influence. And I'm not saying that we should be careless. I'm not saying that we should not be sensitive. I'm not saying that we should be harmful with our words and not be careful and not be intentional with our words. On the contrary, I'm actually saying be very intentional with our words. I just want you to know that you have something to say. The point of this is not to make you question if you do. The point of this is to encourage you that you do have something to say. To remind you that you do have a message to share. And to poke you a little bit so that you'll actually share it. So long. I know I got this calling. 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 Like I feel like the little could. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. What Yoda say? Either do or not do. There is no try. Either share or not share. There is no think. And I sat there. I have this calling. I have this calling. I have this calling. I have this calling. And it's almost like I was waiting for like this moment in time where I would finally feel confident. And that confidence only came when I accepted that this is my path and I stepped into it. And the result, y'all, millions of people inspired, thousands of people's lives affected positively. You know, whatever the right way is to say that, they say, you changed my life. We know that it was not me. Why did I do that? We know that it wasn't me that changed the life. It was them becoming more aware of what was available for them. It was them, their awakenedness, their cooperation, their surrender that changed their own life. And yeah, I've been unable to be a vessel and a vehicle for that. And it's been amazing. And there's a new opportunity. Can y'all feel it? Can you feel the new opportunity that exists? I mean, did you feel it when someone like Bob or someone like Billy Graham? I mean, wouldn't you want Martin Luther King Jr. to just come and say something? I should do a Black History talk that's called What Would Martin Luther King Jr. say? There's a lot of people who's following him as a figure, but not following him as a leader and who he really was and what he had to say. There's people who celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Today that would have threw bottles at him in another time period. And I don't mean like there's not opportunity for people to change. What I'm saying is that people aren't really, there are people, not everybody, that aren't really living out the principles that he came here to share with us. They're just like marching without knowing why they're marching, without knowing what it's really about. They don't understand it. They're just doing things. Forget the point of me going off and sharing that, but you have something to say. Don't be the person that's caught up in your own insecurity, your own unwillingness to surrender to what there is for you to share. Your story is good as is. You don't have to add to it. You don't have to manipulate it. You don't have to exaggerate it. You just have to, you just get to share it. And that's what's beautiful. And to be able to be a vehicle for change, to be able to allow my message to be a light for other people has been deeply fulfilling beyond what I can communicate in my words. So I hope that you feel it through my tone, through my facial expressions, through my energy, and know that my intention is to let it rip. My intention is to let it rip. So I'm kind of riffing right now, and I get it. An action step for those who are still tuning in. Don't question yourself on if you have something to say. Ask yourself, what do I desire to say? And then say it. Say it to your family. Say it to your community. Say it to your extended network. Say it at mastermind events. Say it at association gatherings. Say it at churches. Say it at faith-based organizations. Say it at government gatherings. Say it at networking meetings. Say it at dinner conversations. If it's worth saying, say it. Because I'm sure someone is waiting to hear what you have to say. That's it. Hope you found that encouraging. If you did, go ahead, holla at your boy. Let me know what you're taking away from this video. If you benefited from this, tag someone or share this with someone who you feel this could benefit. I'm committing myself to doing more consistent live streams because I want to practice what I preach. My intention is to discover more of what there is for me to say, and also to be more available, to make myself more available to what that could mean for you, my people. And y'all are my people. So make sure you're subscribed on every platform because sometimes I don't do it on all. And I'll see you then. Peace.